Yo guys, welcome back to the channel. In this video today I'll be explaining how you can improve fast on the MARTOZ joystick. I've been using the MARTOZ joystick for over 2 years now, so it's safe to say I have the experience and can give you guys the best tips and tricks for actually improving. I'll be covering everything you need to know about the joystick, so make sure to watch the whole video. First of all, let's talk about keybinds / finger placement. The first thing you'll notice is that your hand placement with the joystick changes. Most of you play WASD for movement, and it might feel like a stretch now to easily keep your fingers on WASD whilst your thumb is on the joystick. Well, unless you have big hands. So me, for example, as some of you already know, I am a left-handed mouse player, meaning my right hand is for keyboard. This is why my movement binds used to be U, H, J, K. The main issue with my old binds, and the reason I switched, is my binds were extremely unoptimal. For many players, when they first try keyboard and mouse, they check out pro players or YouTubers' keybinds and work from there to find what feels good for them. For me, however, I had no videos on the best keybinds for left-handed players. Because of this, I pretty much made up my own binds, which turned out to be the actual reason I wasn't improving. I was being handicapped by unoptimal binds. I pretty much had around 4 to 5 binds on one finger, which was my index finger. A problem I soon ran into was I was becoming extremely predictable when fighting a good player. Due to moving left with H and also editing with Y on the same finger, I couldn't move very well left whilst editing. This meant I built a bad habit of only moving right when an opponent was trying to take my walls or aggro me. Any good player would soon catch on to this and pre-box the area I was escaping to, which inevitably got me killed. So switching to the joystick meant I was now going from using 4 fingers to move around with to just using 1, which was my thumb. This allowed me to optimize my binds, and now I have no more than 2 main binds on each finger. This means I'm able to consistently press all my keys whilst being able to move around. I no longer have the issue of being limited by my binds. So what I'm trying to say is, for some of you, you may be able to keep WSD as your main finger placement binds. However, for anyone who feels this is uncomfortable, you can move your hand down 1 row and hover your fingers above S, Z, X and C. You can try this out and see what works for you. But this now means you have 4 binds to use freely. Most players have at least 1 building bind on their mouse, therefore now you just need to find out what keys you want to use for each building bind. Even though I changed my binds a lot, a way I made it easier for myself was copying / keeping my keybind pattern the same still. What I mean by pattern is the order I'm used to pressing keys for building. Here's an example. When you do a triple edit, you press the keys in a pattern and usually stick to that order and have built up muscle memory to that. For me, to triple edit, I press B for ramp, M for cone, then N for the floor. I then press H to edit and place the wall using my mouse button. This is very similar to the pattern I used to use, but just with different keybinds now. The only other way you'll be able to find keybinds for the joystick is by looking on YouTube for players that also have keybind settings. I do know that Ruby Plays also uses the joystick, and she is right-handed. She has also got a video on that she recently uploaded. The last thing to mention about keybinds is that most of you jump with spacebar using your thumb. Due to your thumb being used for movement now, I would personally recommend using your pinky finger to jump. This will take some getting used to, but it allows you to keep your main fingers for building, editing, interact binds, etc. For most of you, you can use shift for this bind. Now let's talk about the maps I would use to improve as fast as possible. These maps will provide you with all the drills and routines that, especially when first learning the joystick, are vital to your progression, so it's important you try play these maps every day. The first map we will talk about is Raiders Mechanics map. Now there are 4 versions of this map, however I will be using the V2 version, but you're welcome to use the V4 version that was recently released. So the first part of the map we're going to be using is the free build section. I'd actually advise not to use the weapons on this part, only because the older weapons you have OG movement, which actually makes your movement look really scuffed when building. Hopefully the new weapons will be in creative soon, so this won't be an issue. First, we will free build on 0.8 times speed. The reason for this is to allow you to try more complex drills without it being too overwhelming and fast. This allows more room for error. Focus on trying to be as consistent as possible and really try to do building drills that you struggle with on normal speed. We will then go to 1x1 speed, and this will feel quite fast. Once again, just try to be as consistent as possible while focusing on being as fast as possible. Then go back to normal speed and it will feel slower than normal as your brain has adjusted to the 1.1 times speed multiplier you was recently using. Do this on each speed for at least 5 minutes, so around 15 minutes total. Once our mechanics are warmed up a bit for free building, we will go straight into the piece control tunnels. I would advise to do around 3 to 5 of these drills 10 times on each scenario as they're quite short. Also boys, ignore the awful mechs. I'm 26 years old, so I just ain't built like that. After piece control tunnels, we will go into the edit towers. Here I show that bad edit timing is when you can see the building piece turn blue. Good edit timing is when the tile is completely grey. To improve your timing, practice pressing your edit key and confirm key at the same time. Start off slow, focusing on timing, and once you start to become faster and more consistent, you can move on to the hard section of this drill. Overall, this map is amazing and each drill is worth doing, but for the sake of the video I won't go too in depth. Practice peak shots to get used to the joystick movement while trying to have optimal peaks. As you can see, even with edit on release on, my peaks are relatively good. There's also a section for editing from different angles, which is great practice. However, I believe the V3/V4 map has a better version of this drill. Also practice piece control without overexposing yourself against the bots. I would advise to use Raiders Mechanics map for at least 30 minutes to 60 minutes a day. But let's move on to the next map. Now, I wouldn't normally recommend an edit course, however, since many of you will be changing your edit bind, to get used to spamming your edit key, I would recommend this map. It's very similar to Flea's Edit Dictionary, which was popular when edit courses were a wave. The only reason I recommend this map is that the builds reset themselves after every drill. This means, let's say you spend 10 minutes a day on this map, you don't have to waste time restarting the game to reset the builds. This map also has a free build section, which is quite convenient. Now let's talk about aim. As of chapter 5, all weapons except shotguns are now projectile instead of hit scan. This means it's much harder to track players further away as there's now bullet drop off, just like snipers always have been. And with the new weapons still not being in creative, I would advise not to spend too much time aim training unless you only use shotgun scenarios. Regardless, this first map is a solo aim trainer by Raider464. It's just like 1v1 aim duels except you're versing a bot instead of a real player. Also, the movement with old weapons is different like I said before, but you can still shotgun aim train just to get more comfortable with shooting and strafing left and right with the joystick. You're much better off for the time being just playing a map like MARTOZ Turtle Fights Free For All, which is a map which focuses more on aim and box fighting. Now, some of you may be thinking, what about the best maps to improve your fighting? Well, firstly, Forever Zone was by Jivin TV and its Jaren is an amazing map for one simple reason. Respawn is on, meaning you can use this map to just fight everyone you see, and if you die, you respawn straight back in, so there's no time to wait in between rounds. Most of you probably have heard of 1v1 Speed Realistics by Keybinds. Whether you're doing the 1v1 version or 2v2s with a friend, this is great practice. How it works is one team is meant to box up and play defensive, while the other team is thrown towards you to replicate you being W-keyed. Rounds are short, but this is an effective way to improve your fighting, no doubt. Another great map is called W-Keyer, which is also by Keybinds. How it works is you're 1v1 an enemy, but one of you starts off weak and has to play defensive and heal. This helps you improve by putting you at a disadvantage and forcing you to try create as much space as possible to heal back up, and then return some damage to the opponent to make it an equal fight. Of course, I'll also chuck in some 1v1 build fight maps, as these have infinite mats and can help you by allowing you to build as much as you want and try new retakes, etc. while fighting. Raiders 1v1 build fights and Polarized 1v1 build fights are both very good maps that constantly have high player counts. Anyway guys, that just about wraps it up for the video today. I hope this video can help some of you that have just switched to the joystick or are thinking of it. Always remember, to improve at anything in life, you have to be consistent and put the effort in, and this is the same with improving in Fortnite. It may be hard at the start, but if I could improve from using the joystick, then I have no doubt you guys can too. I hope you all have an amazing Christmas, and I'll see you all soon.